Welcome back in. Well, I'm sure you've heard of the phrase, never do business with family or friends. But what about loans? What about co-signing on a loan? Sometimes you might get emotionally felt like you need to do it, but maybe it's not a good idea. And here to talk more about that is Stewart Welch from the Welch Group. Good to see you this morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Look, I mean, we do have, you want to help out sometimes. A friend will come to you and say, hey, I need some money, and you want to loan them money, but you're saying in a lot of cases it's not a good idea.
Generally, no. So, and there's a number of reasons. I think the first one is that when you make a loan, it actually changes, in most cases, it'll change the nature of the relationship. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of, you become more subservient to the person you're borrowing money from. So if it's friends, it'll shift that relationship. Parent-child, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but it definitely changes the relationship. I think the second thing is that your risk of losing money is really high. And the reason is that they are coming to you because they can't go anywhere else. They can't go to traditional sources, so they cannot go to a bank. And banks are very good at accessing risk. So if a bank says you're not loan worthy, as a person thinking about making a loan, you ought to pay attention to that, because it is, again, very high.
But the one that I think is going to get a lot of folks' attention is you're saying there are tax consequences. So explain that.
There are. So most of the times when you're doing loans to friends and family, most of the time you do it without interest. You just say, I'm going to loan you the money. Well, the IRS says you can't do that. There's this thing called imputed interest, and it goes based on an IRS table. And so you're actually responsible for paying tax on interest you should have received, even though you didn't receive it.
All right, now I know there may be some parents out there, they say, look, we don't have enough money for scholarships or Pell Grants or whatnot, so we're going to have to get a student loan. My student can't get the loan on their own. I have to co-sign on that student loan. What about co-signing on loans? So
co-signing is a bad idea as well. Now, I'm going to make an exception on student loans because that's a little bit different. It's an investment in the child. So I'm talking about things really outside of that. But when you're co-signing a loan, a lot of people think, well, okay, he's responsible for the loan or she's responsible for the loan. I'm just going to be the backup. But the real risk is here that if they default, you are now in first place. And the risk of default, again, is very high, and that's because the bank wouldn't loan them the money on their own signature. They only loaning it because you're stepping up. So again, your chance of losing money is high. You also have put your credit score at risk. They miss payments, and also if you start to borrow money, that literally counts as a loan against you.
All right, so a lot to consider if somebody comes to you and asks for a loan. All right, Stewart, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, still ahead now, why less